Hello again, everyone. Terry Earthwind, and here's another episode with a great guest of What Are You Doing? Bryan Mattimore. Welcome to the show. Love that you stopped by.
Hey, Terry. Thanks for having me. Good to see you again.
Always good to be seen by you. Bryan is a colleague and a co-author of one of the books that we just put out in the last year or so, and we're part of a weekly group and have been well connected since. So, Bryan Mattimore, here comes the famous question: what are you doing?
Well, I'm doing a lot of things actually. Next week, I'm doing an ideation session for an ad agency to come up with new ideas to promote an insurance company. And I just gave a talk to NACCE, which is National Association of Community College Entrepreneurship. That was out in Minneapolis, which was really fun. The goal there is to help, community college professors, deans, and students adopt an entrepreneurial mindset. And so that's been unbelievably rewarding work to use many of the techniques and processes we use in our ideation and innovation work to help kids, I call them kids, younger people adopt that, and be able to come up with ideas, which to me is about power, personal power. If you can generate ideas, you are in a unique position. So I think it's the ultimate way to to help to bring people up in the world, frankly, to equip them with those skills. The other thing I'm doing, which was so challenging at the beginning, and now it's both, I don't want to say it's easy, but it's easier and fun, is I'm an instructor for Caltech in their executive ed department. And so each month we do a podcast. There are 6 instructors, professors, teachers, whatever you want to call them, on this podcast, and it's called Curious and Quirky. And quirky is spelled C-U-I-R-K-Y. And we each have 5 minutes to talk about something that's current and that obviously ties into our work. So the supply chain guy talks about the fact that we're not going to have turkeys at Christmas or whatever, and so I always. And it was very hard at the beginning because my work and the techniques tend to be timeless. But as I started to link those with current events, it became fascinating. And so that's been a discipline. And also for your listeners, I think it's a discipline that can be really, really profound in some ways. If you're, start to read the New York Times or the Wall Street Journal or whatever publications you read, and to try to think, well, how would this link to the work I do, right? And so a good example is next month, don't tell anyone, but I'm going to talk about Lucy. And I don't know if you know, but that's the space probe that is going to look at asteroids around Jupiter. And so what does that have to do with my work, with creativity? Well, for me, in that case, that'll be all about the name. And we do a tremendous amount of naming of new products in our work. And so it's how does, why did they call this thing Lucy? All right. And they did because, first of all, they had to raise $150 million. These scientists compete for money to get their projects funded. And I thought it was a brilliant name because it obviously ties back to 2 things, Australopithecus man, whatever that was, Lucy, right? And that came from actually the Beatles song, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. But what was really smart about what they did and why they called it that is because they're looking for primordial organic matter on these asteroids. And so it became more, let's just look at rocks. No. Let's find out the genesis of the universe. Oh my gosh, now we're talking big ideas. And so anyway, I think the takeaway for the listener is to read current events with a different creative eye that could link in to the work that you're doing.
I love it. I've read on Lucy and its mission, but that you gave me a different perspective. I'm going to read some more on that because that's really a kind of a cool idea. And I love what you're doing with Cal.
Yeah,
that is great. I'm doing some virtual teaching myself, and this is a different world, pandemic and post-pandemic, that we talk about a lot. So
Well,
it's very interesting.
it's one of the most exciting things I do because, we coming up in March, we'll be doing a program for a large financial institution. And, it's amazing. We'll get an ex-space shuttle astronaut talking about how to manage risk, right? Which is, important in the world of finance, right? I mean, what is more fun and better than that, right?
Yeah,
And
man.
and so that's, to me, in some ways, the most exciting part about working with Caltech, and also the people there are fantastic. I mean, they're just, there's some fairly bright people there.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, no, it's great. Nobel Prize winners, and you go have lunch, and the room that Einstein used to have lunch in, and it's just an extraordinary experience. It's one of the great joys of my life, frankly, to be working with Caltech.
Very cool. Very cool. Ladies and gentlemen, Bryan Mattimore and Lucy Key, stay tuned for what he's doing. Thanks again for stopping in. This was fabulous.
Thanks, Terry. Always fun.
Okay.
Great to see you. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Consortium, the business model for the 21st century.